Evening, South Carolina Weather Watchers. I'm the host for South Carolina Weather, Jesse Peterson. Let's go ahead and talk about the weather for your Monday evening. Now, looking at the live radar right now, as you can see, it's mainly okay as of now. Cloud cover is over us, but thankfully, no precipitation is over us right now. Won't be for too much longer, though, as I do have something very important to talk about at the end of the video when it comes to severe weather. We're going ahead and talk, if we're going ahead and go over to the MRMS. Looking at the entire southeast, everything's looking good for the southeast right now. We're looking fine. The east coast, we do have some rain and some snow up here in Maine, going all the way down towards Florida. It's looking to be pretty clear, maybe even some showers and some downpours near West Virginia and Virginia. And then as we move a bit to the west, you may see this entire overall just clump of precipitation. Well, this is actually severe weather. You got severe weather going all the way from St. Louis, central Indiana, going all the way down into Texas, bringing, just a lot of things. We have confirmed tornadoes today hit the ground. We've had damage reports. We have had hail reports. I think we had a hail report of up to softball sized already. And just wind damage and all that kind of stuff is going on right now from Illinois down to Texas, and it's only going to increase. If you're on the live right now, we'll talk about that later. But looking up inside the Great Lakes region, we do have some snow, some rain, and some ice for Minnesota, Michigan as well. Some rain for South Dakota and Wisconsin, as well as some snow, kind of like on this little boundary right here. We also do have some rain and some ice as well for Colorado, and just overall rain from Texas going through the Four Corners region of Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado. If we go all the way to the west is looking fine as of now. Going on ahead and switching over to our cloud cover. Cloud cover right now, I told you a bit earlier, it was actually not too great, and it's still not. We still do have cloud cover over us right now. So that might put any halt to any plans that you may have had tonight. But there is some clearing spots, but right now it's mainly just mostly cloudy as of now. Looking at our current temperatures for right now, 73 in Columbia, 66 in Charleston, 68 in Myrtle Beach, 71 in Rock Hill, 70 in both Greenville and Anderson, 73 in Sumter, Florence, and Augusta, and 70 in Savannah. If you want to look at another location, you can go ahead and check it out now. Moving on to our minimum temperatures. Minimum temperature is 64 up there for Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Augusta, Charleston, Sumter, and then 65 for Columbia, Florence, Myrtle Beach, and Savannah. So your low temperature tonight is either going to be 64 or 65. Obviously, not everyone's low temperature will be 64, 65, but for like the main populated area, 64, 65. Max wind gusts for the next 24 hours. Max gusts can get up to around 30 miles an hour throughout most of South Carolina. Like Myrtle Beach, 27, 28 in Florence, 26 up there inside of Greenville, Spartanburg, 24, Columbia, Anderson, 22 for Augusta, 19 for Savannah. So obviously some spots won't get to 30, but I would not be surprised one bit if we did get a gust of up to 30 miles an hour going into tonight, into tomorrow. No precipitation is expected for the next 24 hours. And here we go. This is the main thing that I wanted to talk about. So, as you can see, we have a slight risk of severe weather for portions of the upstate, and we have a marginal risk of severe weather for parts of the Midlands. Now, you might be wondering why. Well, the reason why, let's go ahead and look at the tornado risk first. We do have a 5% risk of tornadoes for the slight risk, so this includes, again, like Greenville, Spartanburg, Anderson, Rock Hill is in this, and maybe even Augusta. I think Augusta is just to the south, actually, but mainly Anderson, Greenville, Spartanburg, and Rock Hill is inside the 5% risk of tornadoes. So if you know anybody up there, please let them know. We also do have a 2% risk for Columbia going down to Augusta and all the way up to near Sumter. And I think Florence is just out of it. But Just because we do have that tornado risk does not mean that we don't have hail and wind. We do have a 15% risk of hail. If you were inside the 5% risk of tornadoes, you are in the 15% chance of seeing some damaging hail of 1 inch in diameter. And if you are inside the 2% risk of tornadoes, you are inside the 5% risk of hail. And then wind pretty much the exact same thing. If you are under a 5 or the 15% risk of damaging hail, you are inside the 15% chance of damaging winds. And if you are inside the 2% risk or the 5% risk of damaging hail, you're in the 5% chance of damaging winds. Now, as of now, looks like the coast going down from the low country all the way through the PD regions is looking to be fine as of now. But I, in my opinion, think that the marginal risk should be extended all the way down towards the coast. And I do believe that with like 80-90% certainty, that a marginal risk probably will be added all the way down near Myrtle Beach for mainly most of the PD region, going from Myrtle Beach, Florence, Georgetown, all those places. The only place that I think that potentially might miss out is down here near Savannah and Beaufort. That's the only place that I think, and let me show you why right now. So if we go on ahead and move on, go back to the radar. You can go straight to the models and go to the HRRR. If we go on ahead and go to the composite reflectivity, and here's the 0Z, which is not fully done, so we'll go to the 18Z. And if you look, I want you to look at the showers and storms as they push in. So as you can see, they're coming in, and they're coming in, and then look at this. I mean, we have a huge amount in intensification right here from Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky. I mean, just huge amounts of precipitation. And then here goes when it finally enters South Carolina. You see these heavy downpours, heavy storms that is hitting the upstate, and that will move down and, I mean, cause potentially even some more storms going from Moncks Corner, Somerville, Charleston. I talked about Beaufort and Savannah may not get any storms, but I think it's still not out of the question. I think that it's still possible, but I just think that if there was a place inside of South Carolina that would not be under a marginal risk for tomorrow or even Wednesday morning, I do think that it would be Beaufort and Savannah. But also, you also got to look at it like this as well. Look at the timing. This is Wednesday. Tomorrow's Tuesday. So tomorrow's outlook, it wouldn't. I don't even think it would even be a marginal risk. I really think it actually would be for Wednesday. So I think that the Midlands and the upstate day will be tomorrow, but I think once we get kind of to like the early hours, it will start traversing over the Midlands, and then once we get to the late morning hours, it will finally get to like the Low Country and the PD region. So I do think that a day 3 or a day 2 for tomorrow, a day 2 marginal risk is definitely possible, but a day 1 marginal risk is definitely not out of the question for when it gets to Wednesday. Looking at the dew points, you can go ahead and check that out as well. Obviously, dew points are inside the 60s. You can see 68, 67, I mean, maybe even some 70s near Beaufort. Going on ahead and switching over to the 500 millibar winds, I mean, this is the most obvious signature you're going to get. You can see the yellows here. I mean, that's 126, 129, 130 mile per hour winds inside the air. And that will cause, if you know anybody also on the mountains as well, mountains will be getting some very, very, very intense winds as well because they're so high in elevation that even though for us it's not going to be windy because, you know, we're not that high in elevation, but once you get up to the mountains, those winds that are rotating inside the air is actually just ground level for them. So those winds will be high up there on the mountains going through Wednesday. But continuing on with what I was talking about, mainly if you look through, there's definitely the 500 millibar winds are definitely there. Going through as well and talking about the Cape as well. Cape as of now is looking to be pretty strong. I mean, 300 to 700 joules per kilogram. That's pretty strong as well. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and go backwards a little bit because I'm talking about mainly this area. I'm not talking about the upstate a lot. But Going backwards, you can see that was kind of the same way, 400 to 700 joules per kilogram. So there will definitely be enough CAPE to pretty much support severe weather for Wednesday and Tuesday. And then there's one last thing that I do like to look at, and that's the significant tornado parameter. It just sees how likely is it for us to see a tornado, and it goes off of the it goes from like 0.1 all the way up to like 10 or 20 or something like that. And right now, even though it's like a zero point 0.8 and you're like, oh, that's not that much, it actually is a lot more than you might think. That could definitely produce a brief tornado. Could be potentially weak, but still, a brief tornado cannot be ruled out. And that's why I think that marginal risk is definitely something that we may have to watch out for, actually. And as you push it back, you can kind of see start to really develop as it gets into the upstate, and then it really starts to get going. I mean, over here we have a 1.3, a 1.1, and again, the area that I was talking about the most is up here in the Myrtle Beach, Loris region, because again, these significant tornado parameters are showing that the highest is actually up here. So watch out if you're up there near Myrtle Beach, and go ahead and talk about the gust as well. I mean, gusts of up to 60 miles an hour cannot be ruled out near Myrtle Beach tomorrow as well, and those are from those storms as well. And also because you're near the coast as well. But if we go on ahead and go back a little bit, as we wait for that top bar to get closer, really, as of now, the gust is not really, obviously not the main concern. It's really just the chance for those damaging winds from the severe storms. Now, just wind gusts in general is not an issue, but wind gusts from storms is definitely an issue. Also, tornadoes, hail, we already talked about all that. But as you can see, those wind gusts will be whipping throughout most of South Carolina going into the early mornings. I mean, 50 miles an hour wind gusts cannot be ruled out for places just west of Orangeburg. Lancaster can see some wind gusts of up to 45 miles per hour, and that might go through Sumter, 40. That's 47. Charleston, that's 45. Moncks Corner, 40. Savannah, 37. And so yeah, the wind gusts also just not associated with storms at all will also be pretty high. So we're going to have to watch out for those as well, but not the main concern. That's all I have to say about for Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll talk more about it tomorrow evening and probably tomorrow morning as well. But let's go ahead and talk about the GFS and talk about what's going to happen for the future. So going on the winter weather radar, I'm going to go ahead and zoom out so y'all can see the entire United States. As you can see, as we start off, obviously that severe weather is there, the snow up there. And as we push this forward, there goes the storm system pushing east. And that will cause, I mean, look at all the snow inside Chicago. I mean, potentially a good 24 dBz on that. So that's some pretty heavy snow. We continue, and then we have this next kind of severe weather, kind of just like band. I don't know what's going on there, but definitely something to watch for the central U.S. And then we have this next severe weather outbreak that I was talking about last night. Last night I was talking about it, and I said that this could potentially start some more severe weather for Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and potentially try to get into South Carolina some way, shape, or form. And that's around April the 12th. April the 11th going to April the 12th, so we're watching out for that. And then as we continue, everything else is just 300 hours out, so we're not too sure on what's going to happen in between those hours. But that's going to about wrap this up. Make sure that you guys share this video. You subscribe, and make sure that you like the live stream and the video. And if you're on the live stream, when the video goes up, make sure that you go over to the video and like that one as well. But if you're on the recording right now as well and you're not on the live stream, make sure that you come on at 9 o'clock, because that's when we do these live forecasts, and I do some of my own live forecasting, but not for South Carolina. So if you want to see what's happening that's what's happening outside of just South Carolina. Show up to the live streams. Also, if you want to know what's going to happen for the future of the channel, please make sure that you come to the live streams at 9 o'clock, because that's when we started, and it's 9:18 right now. So I've been going for around 15 minutes, and that's going to be about it. So if you're on the video, thank you so much for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow morning with another forecast update.